today okay after then we already done with introduction to the abdomen and pelvis, right? Today we will learn about the osteology of the abdomen. Okay, what are the bones that are giving support to the abdomen? Okay, like that. So okay, let's do that. Osteology of the abdomen. Okay, especially today's class is lumbar vertebrae, right? So the bones of the abdomen and pelvis are that means whoever giving the support or lower ribs. Okay, you have already seen that, and costal cartilages, right? Lumbar vertebrae and sacrum along with coccyx and hip are innominate bone because this abdomen and we are discussing about abdomen and pelvis together, right? So you see these are the lower ribs. Okay, this is the costal arch. Okay, lower four ribs, right? 7 to 10, right? 7, 8, 9 and 10. The costal cartilages of 7, 8, 9, 10 became fused with one another to form an arch called as costal arch, right? And these are lumbar vertebrae. Okay, lower ribs and costal cartilages and lumbar vertebrae, and pelvis is by hip bone, sacrum and coccyx, right? So these are the bones we have to write. Welcome, Saranya. Right. These are the bones. So ribs along with costal cartilages, lumbar vertebrae, hip bone, sacrum, coccyx, and hip bone. Right. So these are the things. Okay. Ribs, lower ribs, and costal margin, lumbar vertebrae, hip, sacrum, and coccyx. Right. You see. So these are the ribs. Right. Lower ribs. Okay. 7 to 10, and 11 and 12. Right. They won't have any costal cartilages, right? So they are called as floating ribs, right? And this is the lumbar vertebrae, right? So this is the abdomen, and all of this is lumbar vertebrae, right? It is called as lumbar lordosis, okay? Protruding into the abdomen. We'll see that major bones of the back are 33 vertebrae, right? There are 7 cervical, right? 12 thoracic and 5 lumbar, okay, and 5 sacral and 3 to 4 coccygeal vertebrae, right? The sacral vertebrae fuse into the single bony element, the sacrum. That means all the 5 elements are present in as a single large sacrum. And the coccygeal vertebrae are rudimentary in structure, vary in number from 3 to 4 and often fuse into a single coccyx, right? So totally they are 7, 12, 5, 5 and 4. So this amounts to the, so these are the cervical vertebra, thoracic, lumbar, sacrum and coccyx, right? So today we will learn about the vertebra in general, okay, vertebra in general and lumbar vertebrae in particular, right? So we will learn about all of this vertebra, okay? So all the vertebrae are called as vertebral column, okay, which is the back, right? It supports the spinal cord, okay? This vertebral column support the spinal cord, right? Sudharani. Okay, that's it. Right? We'll see the general features of vertebra and then go into the specific and detailed details of the details of the lumbar vertebra, right? So you see 7 cervical vertebrae, 12 thoracic, 5 lumbar, sacrum and coccyx. You see the curvatures, right? Spinal cord is not like this, but like this. So these are called as primary curvatures and secondary curvatures. The primary curvature of the vertebral column is concave anteriorly. That means concave anteriorly. Okay, this is the primary curvature. All of this is primary curvature in the early embryo, reflecting the original shape of the embryo and is retained in the thoracic and sacral regions in the adult. So thoracic vertebrae and sacrum is like this, right? For example, I will show you. You see, so thoracic vertebrae and sacrum. Okay, this is the primary curvature. Okay, this is the position where fetus will. Fetal position is also in this manner, right? So you see, so that is the primary curvatures. Secondary curvatures, which are concave posteriorly, right, like this. Primary curvature is like this. Secondary curvature is like this. So cervical has primary curvature. Sacrum has primary curvature, right? Sorry, thorax has primary curvature, sacrum has primary curvature, cervical has secondary curvature, and lumbar vertebrae has secondary curvature. So this is how spinal cord will be, right? Bring the center of the gravity into vertical line. Concave posteriorly form in the cervical and lumbar regions and bring the center of gravity into a vertical line. Okay, this is because of the as soon as the there is weight, okay, in order to transmit weight, okay, and center of gravity, right? Uh, the axis or the line of center of gravity, these curvatures forms, which allows the body's weight to be balanced on the vertebral column in a way that expands the least amount of muscular energy to maintain an upright bipedal stance, right? So you see, this is the primary curvature, and thorax has the primary curvature, and sacrum has the primary curvature, right? Whereas cervical has secondary curvature, okay, and this, right? So this secondary curvature of the lumbar vertebrae is called as lumbar lordosis, okay, anterior curvature of the spine. Remember, anterior curvature of the spine is called as lordosis, okay. This is normal anatomical variation. They are not variation, normal anatomical position, okay, lumbar lordosis, okay, and this is posterior with primary curvature is called as thoracic kyphosis, okay. This is normal kyphosis, okay, not abnormal kyphosis, right? Okay, so you see, this is the gravity line, center of gravity, it's easy, right? Okay, so you see, in the embryo everybody is in the primary curvature, but in the adult there are secondary curvatures: cervical lordosis, lumbar lordosis, thoracic kyphosis, sacrococcygeal kyphosis, right? Okay, so this one. Coming to the general features of the vertebrae. Typical vertebrae. Why we are calling typical means there are always some exceptions, right? There are almost 33 vertebrae, and all vertebrae are not the same, right? Different vertebrae adopt different position and different form and structure in order to attain their functions. Okay, pertaining to the region and pertaining to the function. So the typical means normal in general features. Okay, typical vertebrae has vertebral body. Okay, and vertebral arch. Okay, all of this is called as, this yellow thing is called as arch, whereas this one is called as vertebral body, right? So the vertebral body is anterior, right? That means ventral. Okay, ventral, and is major weight bearing component of the bone. It increases in size from C2 to L5. Okay, so L5 vertebral body size is will be very massive. Okay, and fibrocartilaginous intervertebral discs separate the vertebral bodies of the adjacent vertebrae. Okay, so these vertebrae are separated by intervertebral disc. Okay, you see, this is the body, right? This is the vertebral body. Okay, seen from superiorly, laterally, right, posteriorly. Coming to the arch, vertebral arch forms the lateral, okay, and posterior parts of the vertebral foramen. Vertebral arch of each vertebra consists of pedicles and laminae. Okay, pedicles and laminae. The two pedicles are bony pillars that attach the vertebral arch to the vertebral body. The two laminae are flat sheets of bones that extend from each pedicle to meet in the midline and form the roof of the vertebral arch. Okay, we'll see that. So this is the pedicle. Okay, pedicles are the pillars. Okay, that attach vertebral body to the vertebral arch. Okay, this is the beginning of the vertebral. Pedicle is the beginning of the vertebral arch. So you see, seen from superior. Okay, this is the pedicle. Okay, it attaches this part of arch to the vertebral body, right? Whereas this one is the lamina, right? You see, the observe the superior view. This is the lamina, they fuse in front. Okay, okay, this side and this side. Okay, so this is the half of the arch, this is the half of the arch. Okay, both sides fuse together. Okay, this is the lamina, right? You see, this is the pedicle, this is the lamina. Okay, you see the lamina, right? Go through the every diagram. Okay, every diagram is meaningful. Okay, and loaded with lot of information. Coming to the processes. Okay, these vertebral arch has two processes, right? One is called as spinous process and other one is called as transverse process, right? So the vertebral arch consists of pedicles, lamina, and two processes: spinous process, transverse process. Okay, a spinous process projects posteriorly and inferiorly, right? This is the posterior, this is the anterior part in the body, anatomical position. Okay, anatomically this is the anterior part, anatomically this is the anterior part, this is the posterior part. So spinous process is the posterior and inferior from the junction of the two lamina and is a site for muscle and ligament attachment. So you see, this is the spinous process. Okay, this is the, this is the spinous process. Okay, when you touch your back, what you're feeling is the spinous process. Okay, this is the spinous process, right? and the transverse process extends posterolaterally from the junction of the pedicles and lamina on each side and is a site for Magellan. You see, this is the transverse process. Okay, this is posterolateral. This is posterior and inferior. This one is posterior and lateral. This one is because this is the anterior part. Okay, and for articulation with ribs in the thoracic region. So in the thoracic region, ribs articulate with the transverse process, and there will be no ribs in the lumbar region and in the cervical region. So that part is that part will be fused within the transverse process, right? You see, this is the spinous process in the MRI. This is the MRI. Okay, these one are the pedicles. Sorry, this is the pedicle. This is the transverse process. Okay, you see, this is the transverse process. So, so you see, this is the transverse process. This is the fracture of the transverse process. Okay, we can clearly see that, and this is the multiple fractures of transverse process of lumbar vertebra, right? Right? You understand this? Welcome, Fabian Srina. Okay, so that is the transverse process. Also projecting from the region where the pedicles join the lamina are superior and inferior articular process. So this is the transverse process, right? So where the pedicles join the lamina, okay? This is the pedicle, this is the lamina. So where the pedicle join the lamina, there will be two processes, okay? Superior and inferior, okay? So this is the superior articular process and this is the inferior articular process, right? Sorry, this one. Which articulate with the inferior and superior of the respectively of the adjacent layers. So this superior articular process articulates with the inferior articular process of the vertebra above. Okay. So these are the articular process, superior articular process. Okay, this is superior. See, and these one are inferior. You see, so they have a distinct between vertebral body and the origin of the articulation process. Each pedicle is notched on its superior and inferior surfaces. These are called as superior and inferior vertebral notches. Participates in forming the intervertebral foramen. Right. So this is the uh, superior vertebral notch, and this is the inferior vertebral notch. So the superior vertebral notch and the inferior vertebral notch of the adjacent vertebra forms vertebral intervertebral foramen. You see, this is the intervertebral foramina. This is the inferior vertebral arch. This is the superior vertebral arch of the below vertebra. Okay, so this is the intervertebral foramina through which the spinal nerves emerge. Okay, spinal cord. Okay, spinal cord gives off its spinal nerves through intervertebral foramen. Right, spinal nerve passes in the vertebral foramen. Okay, so this one is called as vertebral foramina spinal canal. Okay, through this spinal canal, spinal cord travels. Okay, and it gives off spinal nerves through this, like this. Okay, these are the spinal nerves. Okay, so this is the body, vertebral foramen. Okay, superior articular process which has articular facet, and okay, inferior articular process which has articular facet, transverse process, right? And this one is spinous process. Okay, these are the lamina. Okay, all of this is arch, lamina, and these are the pedicles, right? Okay, again same thing, body, pedicle, okay, process and arch, lamina, okay, Coming to the lumbar vertebrae, right? Lumbar vertebrae, there are 5 vertebrae are distinguished by their large size and the absence of the costal facets. That means in the thoracic vertebrae, there are facets for to articulate with the ribs, but there are no ribs in the lumbar region, so there will not be any costal facets. Absence of costal facets and transverse foramina. The body is wider transverse. You have to remember all these things, because this is how you distinguish between different vertebrae. Because in unarticulated vertebral column, okay, you have to, if you have to identify L4, okay, you have to remember all these things, okay. Every vertebra is different from other vertebra, okay. Cervical is different, thoracic is different, lumbar is different, okay. You have to know that. You see thoracic vertebra, okay. See here, okay, in the thoracic vertebra, here is rib, so there is articular facet, okay, but there is no articular facet in the transverse process of lumbar vertebra, but there is fused costal element, okay. Transverse process is so small, okay, compared to the thoracic vertebra. And in costal in cervical vertebra also there will be fused costal element, so okay. And in the cervical vertebra there will be foramina transversum, okay. There will not be any foramina in the lumbar vertebrae, right? So you see, this is the cervical, typical cervical vertebra. This is the thoracic vertebra, okay. This is lumbar, okay. This is L. You see, this is the body, okay. This is the body, this is the body. So body is massive, okay, and is transverse diameter is very large, right? Okay, right. So vertebral foramina is triangular, larger than the thoracic level but smaller than the cervical axis. You see, this is the cervical, okay, C1 vertebra atlas. There is large vertebral foramina here, whereas in the this is also C2, okay. This is C1, and again this is C1. This is thoracic and this is lumbar. You see, this is the triangular foramina. Foramina is small, okay. Foramina is very large. So the foramina is smaller than thoracic, but larger than thoracic, but smaller than cervical. Okay, vertebral foramina. There is difference in vertebral body, difference in vertebral foramina, right? And the spinous process is almost horizontal. Remember this, quadrangular and thickened along its posterior and inferior borders. You see, uh, this is the thoracic, okay, thoracic vertebra because of the costal facet on the transverse process. You see that the spinous process is very sharp, okay, it has sharp descent, right? Whereas this is lumbar vertebra, there is quadrangular, right? Quadrangular spinous process, okay, and is thickened, right? This is very thickened compared to the thoracic. You see, these are the spinous process, okay. Okay, all of these are thoracic, whereas these are the spinous process of lumbar, L1, L2, L3, L4, L5, right? So not so steep, and they are quadrangular, shortened, thickened posteriorly. Okay, these are the cervical. That is regarding cervical spinous process. So we have covered body, we have covered spinous process, vertebral foramen, and again the superior articular process where vertical concave articular facet facing posteromedially with a rough mammillary process on their posterior borders. Okay, you see this is the border. Okay, so this one 5, okay, superior articular facet process has another rough area. Okay, another roughened area which is called as mammillary process. Okay, mammillary process is the key distinguishing feature of the lumbar vertebra, right? You see, this is the mammillary process. We may not understand this diagram. Okay, see, so this is the mammillary process. Okay, this one. This is the superior articular surface process. This is the mammillary process. Okay, you see, there is no mammillary process here. Okay, this is thoracic, this is cervical, but there is another roughened area like this, right? So this is mammillary process, right? The transverse process are thin and long, except at the more substantial fifth pair. A small accessory process marks the posterior inferior aspect of the root of the each transverse process. So the posterior inferior aspect of the transverse process has another process which is called as accessory process, right? So superiorly it has mammillary process, vertebral body. Inferiorly of the transverse process it has uh, accessory process, right? So the accessory and mammillary process are linked by a fine ligament, the mammallo-accessory ligament, which is sometimes ossified and beneath which runs the medial branch of the dorsal primary ramus of the spinal nerve. Sometimes this one will be ossified. Okay, you see accessory process. Okay, another bulge like this. Okay, accessory process, right? And this bulge is called as mammillary process. Okay. This is the articular facet, surface and facet, superior articular surface. This is the transverse process. Okay. In the posterior inferior aspect of the transverse process, there is accessory process, and in the superior articular process has another process called as mammillary process. Right. These are the distinguishing features of the lumbar vertebra. Okay, massive body. Okay, triangular vertebral foramen. Okay, thickened spinous process, short, thickened, horizontal, and quadrangular spinous process, mammillary process, and accessory process. Right. Strong paired pedicles arise posterolaterally from each body near its upper border. Superior vertebral notches are shallow and the inferior ones are deep. Okay, that means superiorly they are shallow, inferiorly they are deep. Okay, superior notches. The lamina are broad and short but do not overlap as much as those of the thoracic vertebra.